Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of Spot Check. My name is Fabian Peter and in the studio with us today we have Datuk Seri Jahaberdeen Yunoos. Welcome to the studio, Seri.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me again.
Alright, so just for our viewers probably our viewers, some of them may know you in
many other capacities,
right? But just to explain to our viewers, a brief introduction before we get started. You are also the Deputy President for BAM.
Deputy President 2. They have Deputy President 1 and 2 since this year.
And you are also the KLBA President.
Correct.
Alright?
Correct.
So, Datuk Seri, you are a lawyer. So I'm assuming that people will come to you for sports law and all those kind of things.
Yes.
Right? You are definitely one of the lawyers for BAM also.
Yes.
So I want to go straight into some of the topics that has been spoken about recently, debated in the media, in the sports fraternity. Contracts.
Okay.
Right? Players' contracts, athletes' contracts. So we know that if you're in the National Association, you have contracts. If you go out as independent, you also will need to sign contracts. What are the differences?
Okay. Thanks a lot. Thanks for calling me, Fabian. Alright, one more thing I just want to say Yeah, you're right. I'm also in law, in sports law.
Yeah.
I'm also the chairman of law in BAM, and also at the OCM. I was for many years. So I'm quite familiar with sports law, and also in polo, and also in football. I'm also banyak. So I'm in sports. So I can see the difference between the contract for national bodies and the contract for professionals. And if you look at BAM, for example, BAM, they have structured contracts. And obviously so, because there's much investment by BAM into the players. You have things like coaching, facilities, international exposure, and financial backing. So the contract will have to be a kind of contract where while we protect the players' welfare and interests, it must also protect the interest and importance of BAM, because we have to give back to the players. Now, professionals, on the other hand, they have their own risks. So they have their own path and they have to manage their own sponsors, tournaments, and so on and so forth. So there's a huge difference between the contract by national bodies and contract by the professionals. So the professionals will have to negotiate their own. So that's a big difference there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, would you agree that contracts is tailored differently for each individual athlete? Or would you say it's sort of like a blanket contract? That means it's the same.
Okay. Now, I'm speaking generally. The last time I looked at the contracts in BM some years ago, they had a blanket contract. But of course, with differences when it comes to certain payments, for instance, generally the others are all the same in terms of commitment, in terms of what is expected, and so on and so forth. So except those very specific differences, for example, how much you get is different from each player. You have a junior, which is different. If your ranking is high, you get different, and so on and so forth. Bonuses are different. So other than that, you find that the general, essential clauses such as discipline, such as training, they're all the same. But for the professionals, it'll be completely different, of course. And it all depends on how they negotiate with their whoever is training them, whoever is keeping them, and so on and so forth. Now, when we talk about contracts, if I may just divert a little bit, I like the Indonesian model, for example. You find that in Malaysia, in BAM, for instance, we are the one who go about taking the sponsors and so on and so forth. But in Indonesia, as I understand it, each of the players are actually, you bid for the player. So you can have player A, Jarom is sponsoring, player B is somebody else. So it's bidding. I think that's quite a good system. Because in that sense also, each player is linked or tied to that bidder, to that sponsor. So the player also has a realistic expectation of where he's ranking and what kind of sponsorship that he can get. So that probably, in a sense, will also reduce the burden on the national body in terms of procuring sponsorship for each of the players. I mean, that's a model that I think probably we can think about it.
That's interesting. Okay, so let us see. I want to go into something a bit controversial. I think it's a bit controversial. So, because you were there in the heart of this when this was happening. In 2022, we had Zijia. I mean, he's an independent player now, but prior to that, he was part of the national body, and in 2022, he wanted to leave the National Association, and I remember the press conference, where he was suspended because, I mean, in the past also pernah jadi. I remember I can't remember what's the player's name, but I remember in the past there were players who left, got suspended from international participation and all that, right? So, but then of course we know in 2022 also Zija went to the Prime Minister then, and then the decision got overturned. Does that rule still apply?
Okay. Now, when you mention 2022, Fabian, it brings back not so good memories for me, because I had the unfortunate responsibility of having to announce the suspension of Lizijia. And that was a decision that was made by the council. So I was just a messenger delivering it. But having said that, I'm not apologizing for it, because the circumstances then required that there is a kind of a message sent out that you cannot simply leave like that after so much investment has been given. So that suspension was announced, and that suspension was given to Lizijia. But having said that, we were cognizant of the fact that Lizijia can still appeal. So that was our strategy. At least that was my understanding of the whole thing. That's why I agreed to announce it. Because while we are going to announce the suspension of Lizijia, we also recognize the fact that he could also contribute to badminton in Malaysia. But nevertheless, we have to bring the message to all the other players that this is a very serious matter. So there was an appeal avenue. So when he appealed, I think we reversed. We reversed the situation, and he came back to play again.
Correct.
Now, this is where netizens and those badminton fans should recognize that if the badminton fans, which I'm very grateful that they are supportive of this, because they're also part of the ecosystem, but they must understand that if they think that they are concerned for the players, BM is more concerned for the players, because BM wants to produce the best possible. So when we take an action, there must be a rationale and reason behind it. But having said all that, there is a change I see, that there's a change in the way we approach these players. Instead of taking a step which is punitive, we still continue the act of engaging with the players, making them understand, trying to understand what's the issue and so on and so forth, so as to having a mutual respect without discouraging the players punya semangat, spirit and so on and so forth. Because we recognize that these players, at the end of the day, they are also very young people.
Correct.
Who are not mentally very mature and so on. So other than just trying to promote them and teach them badminton skills, we also understand about their mental structure, and we try to assist in that manner as well.
Yeah. So going back now, if you look at it, reportedly our athletes, especially our badminton players, are earning a lot of money. Right? If I may say, they are probably the highest paid athletes in the country right now. Some of our badminton players.
All right.
But now, since they are earning so much, right? And like you said, BM has invested a lot as well into these players. They just didn't start earning like this overnight. So, is it important for BAM to sort of have certain clause within their contract, like you mentioned, to safeguard the interests of the national body?
Okay, you're right, Fabian. While the players receive high salaries, as you correctly pointed out, it's very important for BAM to have protective clauses. And why protective clauses? Very simple. This is something that the football fans must also understand. We need to have protective clauses because we need to maintain the ecosystem. Now, how do we maintain the ecosystem if, having trained you for so long, having invested in you for so long, suddenly you decide to leave? Because BAM's ultimate aim is to produce world-class badminton players for what? For Malaysia. So it is more of we are investing. So if you leave and we do not have anything back, that's a problem. So because of that system, we try to ensure that BAM's investments contribute back into the badminton ecosystem, and we try to do that via protective clauses in the contract.
So I just want to touch very briefly, because we don't want to keep dwelling on this, but I think the most recent case when we talk about contracts is involving our top women's doubles players, Pearly and Tina. And it was a negotiation process that prolonged for what? 7 months, right? A long time. So would you say that these were some of the things that were discussed before the contracts were signed?
Okay, to be honest, I don't know what happened in the past 7 months because I was not involved in it. And I do know that our new president, Datuk Seri Zafrul, he made the announcement that everything is resolved. But I would suspect and think that it must be because of negotiation between both parties, between BAM and the players. The idea is to ensure that there's a win-win situation between both.
Correct.
And probably, I'm saying probably, that in the future, and I'm not finger pointing at anybody, I'm just suggesting for the betterment of the sports badminton ecosystem, that probably that could be more transparent. Otherwise, you find that the netizens and the football fans will go on a crazy rave, speculating all sorts of things. But yeah, I think we need to keep that simple, basic principle of win-win situation. I'm not for the kind of situation where the national body thinks it is the powerful, the decider either. I'm not that kind of person. I think the national body also will have to come down to the level of the players, and the players must come up to the level of the national body itself. So in that sense, there's mutual respect between the national body and the players. And everybody becomes very realistic about the kind of sponsorship that we can get and the kind of incentives and rewards and remuneration that the players can get, without forgetting that whatever you are getting as a player also affects the other players as well.
Yes.
So
yes,
there's only X amount of sponsorship and funds available. So if you are just going to focus solely on the elites, then how much funds do you have left for development of the sports itself?
Correct. So actually that brings me to my next question.
Okay.
But just before I go there, I just want to divert a little bit. Since you're talking about players and the national body having to come together at the same level and all that, I just want to know from the outside, like now, okay, we know BM has huge sponsors, right?
Okay.
Do these huge sponsors also have certain requirement and sort of like an agreement with the national body to say, hey, we are sponsoring you guys this much, but it's also because so-and-so players are under your national body. That means if they leave, that might affect the larger sponsorship that's coming in.
All right, for sure, because while we're very grateful to sponsors, and I'm speaking, this is my personal view, for sure, the sponsors will have to see what kind of commercial benefit that they can get. So the better the players, the higher ranking players, if you are, then you find that will get a greater exposure to the public, and that will bring commercial benefit to them. So we are always cognizant, at least I'm cognizant, at KLBA we're very cognizant of the relationship between the ranking of the players and the commercial sponsorship that we can get. And that brings me to a very important point, that is where the players themselves must be aware of the commitment and the discipline that's required of them. And that goes into what we've always been talking about whenever we discuss badminton. You're talking about the mental strength, you're talking about consistency, you're talking about all those other factors that make the player great. If you talk to the commercial sponsors, for example, you tell them, alamak, we're supposed to do well in this open, but we didn't do because the players were not in a good mood, or the mental state was not there. Commercial sponsors will not be able to understand that. Because as far as they are concerned, you did well the last tournament, why aren't you doing well now? So these are the kind of challenges that you face. And having been team manager for a few tournaments, I realized that that's one of the bigger challenges that our players have. And to be fair, I also spoke to other players from other countries. Now I mix around. To me, if you're good, you're good. While I'm a citizen of Malaysia, I always think I'm also a citizen of the world. So I'm not exactly trying to eliminate you.
And if you can learn from them, why not?
Precisely. So I find that some of these, it's a common challenge among badminton players, that on that particular day, for some reason or other, they're not performing well. And it could be, if I may share with you, it could be a trigger, like for example, while you're on the badminton court, you're playing your game, but you're not able to read your game. That's why if you notice, Fabian, at every tournament, you have at the end, the corner of the badminton court, you have the coaches sitting there.
Sitting down there.
Because the coach is actually studying the game, and when you take a break, the coach will go and, hey, look,
you were doing this,
you were just playing the game. You were just reacting to the other side. You're not strategizing tactically against the other player. So you need to have adaptability. So those kind of things. So these are very complex. I'm not
very
excusing.
Technical,
Very technical. It is, see, I'm a lawyer. I always tell some of the players that there's no difference between the courtroom and the badminton court. In the sense that both of us, we are always opposing. I tell people as a lawyer, every day, I'm in the business of disagreement. I'm forever disagreeing with you. So I've got no issues when you disagree with me. So I tell the same thing to the players, that when you are, for example, at a stage where you are 11 and the other side is 20, so you can imagine the mental pressure that you have.
Yeah.
But I tell them that happens in court as well. So you do not care about the 20. All you want to do is just thinking about getting to 12, getting to 13, getting to 14, and so on and so forth. So that's the mental strength that we need to have. And one more thing I need to add is that I think that is a focus that BAM should be focusing on. And right now, I think we have a good psychologist with us. And I think she's doing a good job.
She's a full-time psychologist, right?
She's a full-time psychologist.
Yeah.
And I raised this actually about 3-4 years ago, because I was shocked that we don't really have a full-time psychologist. But now we have a full-time psychologist, and she's very good.
Yeah. Okay, so now going back to my question, Datuk Sri. So since BAM is spending, reportedly spending a huge chunk of its money on all these top players, and I don't need to say any names. We know who our top players are.
Okay.
But you see, BM is quite transparent in terms of the spending, expenditure and all that. They put their reports out. We can go to the website, you can see how much is being spent. And you see a huge chunk going just for salaries, So, for player salaries, it's very clear. So I want to know, if that is is that how much it's going to all these top players? How much do we have left for development? Because let's be very frank, right now we are in a stage where our development seems very shaky.
Well, I can fully understand that. I think this is going to be a challenge for every president. And good luck to my dear new president, Tunku Zafrul. But on a more serious note, Fabian, it is always a big challenge to balance between elite and grassroots. In terms of funding. But to me, grassroots is the foundation.
You have to.
That is the foundation.
Correct.
And I recognize the challenge in developing grassroots when at KLBA stage, we started the Jejak Juara program 3 years ago. Now we're into the 3rd year already. I realized, wow, I can talk so much about grassroots, but it all requires funding. But that is something that we have to overcome. And you talk about grassroots, Fabian, you're talking about junior development. Now, my feeling has always been, and I apologize, I may be wrong, but my feeling, having been involved in badminton management for the past 10 years,
so far 10 years,
So far 10 years. And I find that the biggest challenge is grassroots development. And you must go to the schools. We talk about being a badminton nation, but hey, do we go to the schools? So finally, I told myself 3 years ago, together with my, I'm very lucky to have a good counsel at KLBA, and also this Datuk Vincent, who's also a former badminton player. The good thing about him is, not that he's a badminton player alone, that's good, but the fact that he can listen and open up to new ideas. So what we did, we went to all the schools,
in KL,
all the schools in KL, even all. All the schools in KL together.
Tak kisahlah. So it's sekolah kebangsaan.
Every single school in KL. We have 294 schools in KL. But we were able to do that because we were very fortunate to have met a pengarah Jabatan Pendidikan Wilayah Persekutuan who recognizes this vision, who wants to hold hands together with us and to go with that. So what I'm trying to say is, you talk about grassroots development, it is not enough for a minister. I'm not saying our minister is no good. It's not enough for a minister or a president or a Datuk Bandar to just make hollow statements. Walk your talk. So I'm grateful that here they're able to walk the talk with us and we're able to every year we have an annual circuit. Every year we have 3,300 players from all the schools and various categories up to 18 years, up to 16 years old participating. And from there we have a bigger pool. So the point I'm making here is, while this part I agree with KJ. I'm not defending him. When I say KJ, I don't mean our Khairi Jahaberdeen. I'm talking about our Jonathan. Our national
Kenneth Johnson.
Kenneth Johnson, So I call him KJ. I agree with him because recently there was a big uproar. How come our Asian junior, I say, whether it's badminton or live, people are just complaining. They want instant results. Maggie me. But that's not how it works.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I look at it. What he says, look, we're on the right track.
Yeah.
But we didn't do well, fine, but we're on the right track.
Yeah.
But don't expect instant results. That's exactly what happened at KLBA as well. At KLBA, I tell them, don't worry so much about the goal. Don't worry about it. Worry about developing skills. Worry about developing all the necessary ingredients that makes up to be a good badminton player.
Yes.
Because once you get that correct, you won't get the goal today or tomorrow, but in the process, you will get it.
Correct. You're building a foundation.
You're building
there.
a foundation.
Yeah.
So that's how we do at KLBA with our Jejak Juara program.
Yeah.
We have various kinds of training. And the other thing about talent development is, janganlah fikir, don't think that you are a national body or you are the state body, and therefore you know all. Come on.
Yeah.
So I actually, together with my council, we started having cooperation with the clubs.
Yeah.
Because the clubs are commercial, so they're able to develop talent.
Yeah.
So once you have that relationship with the clubs, so you learn. So point I'm making, Fabian, is there are a lot of factors, many parts of the ecosystem of developing the junior that can be done, and that's got to be addressed.
Right.
Funding, working together with the clubs, for instance, and we do.
Yep.
In fact, we have MOU with 16 private clubs, and I think we are the first state BA to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, initially it was opposition. No, wow, we are KLBA, we must be. I say, hey, look, I'm not going to bring KLBA to the grave lah. I could be the deputy president of BAM, with respect. I'm not going to bring, I'm not going to be there for the rest of my life and inherit to my son. No, it's not.
Yeah.
So I hope that whoever the ministers, the Datuk Bandas, and whoever's hearing this,
Education system.
system, I hope they understand, those kind of things.
Right.
And also, if I may add, the other thing about junior development is this. We had an MOU with Thailand, Bantang Yacht,
Yes.
and after I think BM followed. But we had that, and that was very good because we already gone to Bantang Yacht 3 times.
Oh, three times already?
3 times already. And
Okay.
we find our own money lah, Fabian.
Okay.
Susah lah, but
Yeah.
we find the money. Finding funding is the most difficult thing.
Yeah.
So the point I'm making is, if you make this a little bit more exciting, if I may say this, Fabian, we must be very, very careful of not making the sports into an occupation or a career. Because that can give a mental stress to the players. I think so too.
Okay.
So you must make it exciting all the while. You must make it interesting. Of course, it's a job for them,
Yeah.
but you must make it interesting, exciting for them,
Yeah.
so that it becomes part of a culture.
Yeah.
And then you can say that we are a badminton nation.
Correct.
You know?
Correct. So, Sian, I like that part that, KLBA has done this. So we know that this is sort of like a working system. I mean, of course, it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
It's always a work in progress, but we see that, KLBA has gone to 200 plus schools, all the schools,
Yeah.
like you said. Now, if this is a working
With a lot of
system,
challenges,
right?
Yeah.
So if this is a working system, why isn't this like a blueprint? I don't know, maybe it's susah a bit for you to jawab because, different states have got different presidents but, why isn't this, I mean, like you said, we cannot just point the finger and say, sports ministry is not doing anything. Sports ministry has to look after so many other sports. Now, we have badminton, we have BAM, and we can see like KLBA is probably one of the states BAs that's doing really well. Why not use that as a blueprint for the whole entire Malaysia?
Okay.
So, I mean, they must also go to, let's say, I don't know how many schools they have in their states, go and jumpa dia pengarah also, and this is the structure.
See, this is where I'm glad you raised this point. This could be controversial, but I'm saying this from the sincere bottom of my heart. I mean, I'm a lawyer. I wear many other hats. I accidentally stumbled into badminton thanks to Tan Sri Nauza Zakaria. Stumbled into it. Dia yang bawa saya masuk. But once we are there, it is a volunteer job. We must do our best, lah.
Yeah.
So I would say this, in relation to your question, I've always advocated that the Ministry of Youth and Sports should be broken up. I think it is. I think it's totally inefficient. I think it's totally waste of time to have youth and sports together. You neither are able to focus on the sports nor are able to focus on the youth. It should be separate. And who in the world ever thinks that youth must mean sports? Youth, there are many other issues. So many other issues. So if you have a minister of sports, for example, then I would say that it is incumbent upon the minister of sports to meet every single president of every important prominent sports in the country. obviously people agree with me when I say that badminton and football are prominent. I've not met Hanayo yet until today, YB Hanayo, as KLBA president. I can understand she's busy with other things, but I've not met. I've met the Datuk Bandar of Kuala Lumpur for 20 minutes. I'm grateful to her for giving me the 20 minutes, but I don't know whether I'm able to impress upon her the importance of, what we can do. But at the same time, also grateful to the Pengarah of the BKL who gives a lot of time. He's very supportive, etc. So I'm saying that these are the things that we need to do. So, Fabian, instead of us having a sound bites, I think the country must decide once and for all whether or not they seriously want to be a badminton nation. That's important.
So now, since we've touched a little bit about grassroots, I mean, this is a conversation that can go on.
Can go on forever.
Yes, forever. But
sorry, I will answer one more of yours.
Yes.
You're talking about the national blueprint. Brilliant. Brilliant. I would suggest this. I'm suggesting this not as BAM. As KLBA president, I would suggest this. I would really say that there should be a general national blueprint.
Yes.
I mean, at KLBA, I have a 5-year blueprint. So at the national level, you must have it. So that there is some streamlining of training.
Correct.
I mean, for example,
it's like a handbook.
Precisely. And you find that if you study, I've studied Korea. I've studied China. I've studied Indonesia. I've studied Thailand. I even studied Philippines. I am surprised to see that these countries actually have a national blueprint for junior development.
Correct.
Kan?
Correct. Yeah.
So
and you see it bearing fruit.
It's bearing fruit.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that we need to do. Otherwise, see, I respect you. I respect me. But I'm not so sure about human nature. I'm very critical about human nature. So coming back to this badminton thing, what we do is, if we don't have a national blueprint, they're going to look down on small states like Perlis. But you might find the champion there.
Correct.
But once you have a national blueprint, you have a SOP as to how the training should be, etc., and so on and so forth. And you have, for example, Kenneth Johnson. He goes around.
Yes.
So you have
a proper structure.
Precisely. So you have a streamlining of coaching. You have a streamlining of mental mindset. You have the psychology going around. So if we do that, it can be done. Maybe
proper certification. That means each head coach of each state must, be certified. Must have that kind of like accreditation ke apa, So
it's not enough to say that I have a development committee. I have a tournament committee. It's not enough lah. We're not small boys. We know what are the things that can be done better. Allow it. That's what I'm saying.
So that goes to this next question. Like you just mentioned, I mean, we were having a chat earlier before the start of this podcast. Many people have been asking, I mean, looking at the team's poor performance at the Asian Junior Championships. Some former players actually called me and said, actually, our players are not that bad, Actually, they did well earlier this year in some of the opens. The Dutch Open, the Dutch Junior Open, the German Junior Open, the Malaysia International Junior, and all those kind of things. They were saying, perhaps at the Asian Junior, a bit unfortunate that maybe we would have met China early on. So all,
possible.
But we, like what you said, so we cannot just draw up a conclusion just based on this one tournament. But a lot of people have been asking, like, okay, in BAM we've got the council and then you've got the different, committees. People have been asking, what is the development committee doing? We never see the development committee coming and giving a press statement and saying, this happened. Will they take responsibility? But then, like what you mentioned when we were talking earlier, we got a new president, so the new committee has not been set up yet, is it?
Okay. We're going to have a BM council meeting, I think this month.
Okay.
Is it already August?
Yes, we are in August already.
Okay, we're in August. So we're going to have a meeting, I think, next week or so. That would be the real proper meeting for the president. So I'm thinking that he's going to spell out a few agenda, etc. and all that. So probably that time we have a clearer picture. And then you can ask the new development state, development committee chairman, whoever he is, ask him how to move forward. But generally speaking, I totally agree with you that we require a kind of a blueprint, a standard operating procedure by which we set minimum standards, which juniors need to comply and achieve. On that point, you see, if you look at Malaysia, for instance, I ask you one question, Fabian. You've been covering sports for some time already. Is there a ranking for the juniors in this country?
I think ada kot,
Tak
but
mana
it's
ada.
internal no ah.
Tak mana ada.
Oh.
In Malaysia, do you know who's the number one player? Is a ranking?
Oh, tak ada lah. I mean,
Tak ada.
it's not
None.
yeah.
But I'm saying that we should have. I'm saying we should have. You see, I'm going to say this anyway.
Yeah.
What's the worst that can ever happen to me? Now, you see, for example, you have in Malaysia, you have BAM.
Yeah.
BAM organized this GP finals.
Correct. The junior,
Jet 1 and Jet 2.
yeah.
Do you know how it works? In Jet 1, Jet 2, for example, there are 15 states.
Yes.
So all these 15 states are divided into 5, 5, 5. You know, that means in each grouping, there's 5 states, 5 states, 5 states.
Okay.
So in that grouping of 5 states, the 5 only fight among themselves.
Okay.
So they don't fight with the 10, you know.
Oh,
Do you know that?
No, I don't know. I thought it was a
You know,
national.
so I thought the public should know this. I'm also BAM deputy president anyway, you know. But as KLBA president, I see this. I say, look, this system is not the best possible. The 5 fight among themselves and so on and so forth. I may be chastised for saying this.
Why is it 5? Because it's by zone.
No, that's how they divided it.
Okay.
Some committee came out with this idea to say that, you know, we divide each into 5, 5, 5. And therefore, the 5 states in this grouping will fight among themselves. And then the same thing, Jet 2, same thing as well.
Yeah.
And the final, whoever wins goes to that one.
Yeah.
But KLBA has proposed, and we're going to discuss this, I hope they discuss this, that instead of having 5, have a knockout system from day one. Why? Because by doing that, we can have a ranking in the country. You can have seeding and ranking, and you know who are the top form and all that. And you find the entire state is fighting among themselves.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that in that sense, you find that they can actually...
so that in the future, that we can actually go to BM's website and see a drop down that says ranking.
Correct.
National ranking.
Correct.
Kan?
I mean, correct. I mean, this is my opinion. In my opinion, the current system is, with the greatest respect to whoever's listening, is a shock sendiri system. You know? Yeah. And I'm sure in Malaysia, and I'm sure my council members are also big-hearted and intellectually sound to hear criticisms.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. For sure. Definitely. I mean, you know, we need discourse, right?
Yeah.
So, we still got a few more questions today. I think 2 more questions. Sikit je.
Okay.
Still touching on grassroots development.
Yeah.
You know, sometime last year, or was it the year before, BM decided and said that they're not going to be absorbing players from the age of 13 anymore. They will all still be with their states and with their parents because they're still considered young and all that, right? And they will only start absorbing players from the age of 16. Now, having gone through this system, I don't know, maybe BM has a slight idea. Will they revisit this?
Okay. My direct and honest answer to that would be, Fabian, you must call those people who decided on that. I could have been in BAM, but I was not party to that decision making.
Okay.
So I do not know how their cognitive processes came up with that kind of decision. So you call them, you ask them why they decided, what is the rationale for that. I'm unable to answer.
Yeah.
And I also refuse to answer for other people's mental processes.
But at KLBA, it's still status quo. Players come in from the age of 13.
Yes.
Right?
In fact, younger than that.
Oh,
13.
Yeah, correct.
At KLBA, we take younger than that.
Correct. You still have the under 12, under 10 and all that.
Yes, and at KLBA also, we're also encouraging no more just under 16 or like we want to go to under 18 because we recognize there's some late bloomers as well.
Correct.
And 18 is still junior.
Still can compete in Sukma.
Precisely.
Sukma's under 21.
So, you see, while in the ecosystem, players are important, no doubt.
Yeah.
Funders are important, sponsors, the equipment, etc. is important. But I will say this, the sports manager, the quality of the sports manager, the adaptability of the sports manager, the management,
Correct.
the adaptability of sport, and the ability to say, I don't matter. I can change my mind. I'm still be me. But I notice some sports managers, and I've been with a lot, they all take, when you criticize a certain policy, we're criticizing them. Hello, we're not interested in you lah.
So it's not personal, right?
Of course not personal. You're going to sleep with me. So I cannot understand this small-mindedness.
Yeah. Okay, Seri. Thank you so much for being on the show. I have one last question. Last question is for you and for KLBA, as well as, of course, BAM. At the end of the day, we are all one big umbrella.
Yep.
What are some of the plans that you have moving forward? Something that maybe you can hint a bit, kasi some
basically
sneak preview?
Basically at KLBA, it's still the same challenge. At KLBA, I need to have people around me who understand the vision. It's very important. Because we are there, let's do our best. That's number one. Number two is I'm still trying to strengthen grassroots development in the sense that we've just spoken to JPWBKL. Again, I'm very blessed that there's a new pengarah who's also equally excited about developing. And he actually very good. He actually earmarked a school for us. And he says turn that school into a badminton school. And he's giving us the hostel as a place for badminton players to stay.
Wow.
Correct. So that's very exciting. So we need assistance on that. But the only thing I'm still very sad is, I hope if the Datuk Banda are listening to me, while I'm very grateful for all the other support that the DBK has been giving me, I sincerely hope that they will give the arena for us to manage, so that we don't have to be a nomad renting elsewhere.
So that means until now we still
KLBA, I still haven't KLBA tada. And every time
this is KL,
Correct, we are KL. And then when I have a council meeting, I'm very embarrassed with Penang, with Perak, with Kelantan, with Johor, because they all have their own and supported by their own state government, city councils. So I really hope our Dr. Maimuna.
Berapa lama already? How long has KLBA gone without? I mean, since the old
for 4 or 5 years already. Since COVID, 6 years already without. So we're still hoping that that can happen.
Right now, you're training in Shamlin.
In Shamlin, we are renting, and then we can't do the full works. And I'm also now looking at organizing International ASEAN Intercity Badminton. That's what KLBA wants to do. We already discussed our first meeting. We already come out with a plan blueprint, spoken to some sponsors. So that would be exciting. So I really hope, because we can do so much, but we require ministers, city councillors, whoever in positions of, whoever is a temporary position of power, to temporarily help us while they can. Because they'll be useless once they retire. With the greatest of respect.
Yes. Okay, so let's hope that the Datuk Banda will check out our podcast.
I hope so.
We will send it to the person also. And I think this is very important. But again, thank you very much, Datuk Sri, for being on Spot Check. We hope to get you on again. Please come.
I've spoken from my heart. I hope
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
No lah, I don't think anybody will be offended. So that has been another episode of Spot Check. My name is Fabian Peter. Thank you very much. Thank you.